I'm actually Tommy Ross. As you know, I made 55 on May 1st, man. So this is a milestone year. Really good space in life, man. Before I share anything else, I'm a dad, man. I have two amazing biological children, 26, 23. Both of them July babies. They'll make 27 and 24 here in July. Also blessed to have two wonderful bonus children, 20 and 16. That 16 thinks she like 25, but she's 16. She's 16, but life is good, man. Wonderful wife, and career-wise, man, I've had the opportunity my entire career to actually serve youth, families, and adults. My whole thing is service. Right? So I've been, the last several years, I've actually been serving in the unhoused community. I've served in the faith community, all over the place with respect to social services. Another really special place that I've served is I've had the opportunity as a master trainer and facilitator to really get into organizations and communities and really talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, really speak directly to social injustices, what that looks like in those particular spaces. But yeah, man, I'm a dad, regular dude, love people, love service, love community. Just a little bit about me.
Sounds good. You are going to be a motivational, inspirational speaker at the 2024 Iowa Juneteenth.
Let's go.
How do you feel about that? What's your feelings on that, first of all?
Man, I'm amped. I'm hyped. Like, I'm on 10 about that. So we have a chance to talk about this a lot. But just the opportunity to actually stand and hold and share that space with everybody inevitably that will be there. Beautiful, powerful moment. I'm excited about it. Grateful to actually walk in that space. As you and I both know, those are sometimes once in a lifetime opportunities. The way the world is turning, we never know if we're going to have that particular moment again. So, man, I'm excited and grateful to be a part of it.
Without telling us and revealing exactly what you're going to do, talk about what you're bringing to the stage.
I appreciate that question. So, really, one of the things that made a profound impact on my life is the family who cultivated a sense of consciousness, a sense of blackness and culture, and how broad that is, right? So really what I want to speak to is just the experience, right? I want to speak to something that was, nobody actually said these words to me directly, but I understood as a child that there was going to be a baton that was going to be passed to me, and that I needed to really honor our ancestors and the elders in my family and what they sacrificed to get this baton to me. But then I had a responsibility to grow that thing, to nurture it, to cultivate it, and then really seed that into the generations to come. So for me, it's a life moment for me. I've had all of this richness passed on to me from elders, and I get so much from brothers and sisters and even peers, but to be able to hold that space and just have a short conversation. So I'm going to speak just a little bit to our history, right? Where we come from and who we are. But really what I'm going to really focus on is you have the baton. Millennials, Gen X, and Gen Alpha coming right behind them, but you have the baton, and I'm incredibly impressed because they taking this thing, as you we talk about it all the time. They just operating wonderfully and powerfully in every space I can imagine, from science and technology and any kind of industry. Man, you talk about podcasting, DEI, just the entrepreneurship is amazing in this particular generation. So I just really want to speak to a little bit of where we come from, speak to that, the richness of Juneteenth and what it means for us. But we're here now. You got the baton. Now go do your thing.
Beautiful. Let's dive into a little bit of your peoples and where you come from. Just us sitting back talking, you, as long as I've known you, have shared stories with who your people were, the people that you come from. Talk about, give us some scenarios about you growing up as a young man with all that historical information being shared with you.
Absolutely. Powerful question. So, for me, it really starts. It goes longer and deeper than this. But I want to, for time's sake, I'll start with my two grandmothers. Both of my grandmothers were highly educated. One formally, one was self-educated, right? But highly educated. So there was never a time where I was around them for an extended period of time that they wasn't dropping some pearls, some nuggets. They had questions, they had expectations. In terms of just grandson, this is who we are. This is where we come from. So it really started with them, right? And there was a number of other individuals who were very like-minded, very learned, very conscious, a lot of activism in my family. My mother, born in 45, talks about her experiences with Ali, talks about her experiences with Malcolm, talks about her experiences with Martin, how that impacted her personally in her generation. Being in Chicago, everything that was happening at that time, of course, there was a lot of focus that was happening down south, but there was a lot of friction up north too, right? And Chicago was definitely a hot spot for them. So another thing that was really powerful, Phil, the very first time I actually went to Texas, the summer between my freshman and sophomore year in high school. I had never been to Texas, really hadn't traveled much. I was on the Greyhound, back and forth between Des Moines and Chicago. Born in Chicago, parents were going through, they was going through some back and forth as a small child, but was primarily raised in Des Moines, right? Hadn't really traveled anywhere. So I'm in Chicago for the summer. My uncle and auntie say, hey, we're going to see your great granddaddy in Texas. You want to go? Yeah, of course I want to go. So we go, we're there. He was actually originally from St. Louis, Missouri, but he had actually been a resident in Houston for quite some time. So we're in Houston visiting him, and he says, let me tell you a little bit about who you are and where we come from. So we do this excursion, we go to Galveston. Now I'm excited because, brother gonna be out there on the waterfront, and I'm out there, but his thing was, actually, let me tell you something, great grandson, about Galveston. Let me talk to you about Juneteenth. And he was the first person, I'm not talking about reading something in a book. He was the first person who had lived experience, who sat across from me and said, hey, when we enforced the Emancipation Proclamation, it actually started in Galveston. Let me tell you about that, great grandson, right? So, because you know the history of it. And so, this piece for me, when I think about Juneteenth, of course I think about the legacy, the richness, all of that, right? But I think about great granddad, because he was the first person to sit across from me and say, hey, let's have this conversation. So that was just a couple highlights, and I've been truly, immeasurably blessed and enriched with just having so many folks in my space who've had so many deposits over the years. So yeah.
So I have to ask, your great-granddad takes you to Galveston, Texas. You, for the very first time, not only get an understanding of Juneteenth, but you actually get a chance to visualize. So not only was it history that was being passed down to you, but it was like going on a field trip.
Yes.
What did that do for you?
That was really a transcendent moment for me in my life. And I didn't realize it at the time, right? I was always really curious, and I was the type of kid that just loved to soak up information. So I would sit with the elders and look, as long as you want to dunk, I'm here, right? So I always had that thing. But very honestly, in the moment, I was just so incredibly, now keep in mind, I'm roughly 14, 15 years old. I'm just so incredibly curious, grateful to be in great granddaddy's presence. That's really the only memory I have of him, is visiting him, us having these conversations, and then him specifically talking about the history in Galveston. So on one hand, it was exciting. It was a big moment. I knew that. But what happened for me is, as I unpacked that in later years, I truly began to just get a deeper understanding of how powerful and impactful that moment was. In that moment, as a 14, 15-year-old, I was excited and grateful and eager and curious, but I truly didn't understand how major that moment was and how much I would look back to that with significance moving forward. So yeah, it was a powerful moment.
Hey everybody, it's Anika and the Soul Stars, and we want you to come celebrate Juneteenth in Iowa with us. Yes, see you there.
I'm on my own time, no need for rest. Cause when you keep on pushing forward and don't let the troubles of the world bring you down, you'll get your crown. I'm gonna dance and sing what I wanna sing. My clothes, my hair, sometimes they do